Good morning, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and a good night. I am Patrick. This is Storytelling Imperfectly, and welcome to the channel, or welcome back to the channel if you're already subscribed. But if you are new to the channel, thanks for being here. Welcome. I am Patrick. I hope you like what you see. Guys, I got a crazy missing persons case for you today. It happened back in 2015, 6 years ago, and it remains unsolved to this day. So sit back, relax, it's story time, and let's see if we can't figure out what happened to Fred Drumm. On November the 24th of 2015, Frederick Drumm, or Fritz as some people called him, was a 68-year-old man on a 178-acre farm in New York. Now, this particular town that he was from was called Schuylerville, New York. Now, Schuylerville, New York is a small town. It's not a very large, and it's north of Albany, not that far. But even stranger is that it can't be dismissed that it is about 30 miles away from Bennington, Vermont, which we all well know is known for the most dangerous of shapes, the triangle. The Bennington Triangle, to be more specific, and a place of numerous mysterious disappearances. Now, Fred's property he had been living at for 12 years. So this man had spent 12 years living on 178 acres with his wife, Ruth, who he'd been married to for 50 years. And they were enjoying their retirement on their property in New York. And what a beautiful place it is. Upstate New York is lovely. You get close to the Green Mountains in Vermont. It's beautiful rolling countryside and a wonderful place to retire, unless you hate cold weather, because it does get bitterly cold there. Now, it happened, as I said, in November. So the weather had already started getting pretty brisk outside. However, Fred was from this area. I mean, he had lived his whole life up north and was quite acclimated to the cold weather. One of his favorite things to do now that he was retired was to walk his property. I mean, if you have 178 acres, it'd be a shame not to go out and check it out, wouldn't it? He loved watching wildlife. He liked going to a creek that was on his property and seeing what animals had come up and down by the tracks that he left on the riverbanks. He was also an accomplished hunter, as one of the activities that he absolutely enjoyed to do was go out hunting during hunting season. And Fred was just an all-around stable guy. He had no signs of pre-dementia or onset dementia of any kind. He wasn't struggling with dementia. And so, with no abnormal behavior, Fred had served on the city council of Schuylerville for 14 years, even though at 68, he had decided that it was best that he didn't run for re-election and that he was going to enjoy his retirement without having to worry about civic matters. Which makes total sense. I mean, it's a stressful job being on the city council. But it should also be said that his decisions on the city council were always fair, and he had no enemies in town because of decisions that were made by the city council. Like most city council people, there are always going to be some people in the area that don't agree with what you do because you can't please all the people all the time. However, Fred was liked enough in town. In fact, he was more than liked. He was respected and well liked. On November 24th, his wife Ruth got up in the morning with him. They had coffee together. It was a completely normal morning. At about 10 a.m., Ruth went to a function, which was a grandparents' breakfast. But Fred decided not to go. He just wanted to hang out on the farm, his property, his 178 acres, and relax for the morning, and told Ruth that he would see her when she got back. And the last she saw of her husband, Fred, was him heading to the barn that was on their property. She came back around that 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Ruth returned from her outing, her breakfast. And you know, ladies like to get together when they have these breakfasts and they sit for hours and they drink coffee and they talk. And it's a totally normal and natural thing. So it doesn't surprise me that she got back at 2. The surprising part is what she found when she got back at 2. All of Fred's possessions were inside the house, his cell phone, his car keys, things of that nature. She thought he was still out at the barn, but when she went and checked in the barn, Fred wasn't anywhere around. Well, then she thought maybe he had taken a walk on the property, so she waited, and as it got dark, Ruth grew more concerned. And by the following morning, when Fred hadn't shown back up at all, she finally went to the Saratoga County Sheriff's Department and reported Fred missing. This shocked everybody in the community. Again, Fred was well liked. And when the sheriff department and everybody found out that a city council person was missing, they threw all their resources into finding Fred. It was a massive search, guys. This is, again, happened in 2015, so they threw everything they had, which was quite a bit. They had volunteer firemen looking, as well as they had their own SAR team, search and rescue. They had helicopters, and they had canine units on the ground looking for Fred the very next day after he disappeared on the 24th. So on the 25th, all these folks are looking for him. Not only do they cover the complete 178 acres of his property, but they even expanded the search up to 1,200 acres, guys. 1,200 acres around Fred's property looking for this man. And there was zero sign of him, none whatsoever. In a news article to the Time-Union, which is a local newspaper there, his wife Ruth had said it's just the strangest thing. It's like Fred evaporated. And it's exactly what happened. I mean, he was there. There's no sign of any forced removal of Fred. His vehicle is there, so the sheriffs are almost 100% certain that he left on foot, however he left. But the canine units can't pick up on his scent. It's really a baffling case when you think about it, because if this guy left on foot at 68 years old, even though that's not that old, especially this day and age, guys. I mean, my father-in-law is 70 years old, and that dude gets around. You know what I'm saying? So 68 isn't old by today's standards, especially if you take care of yourself. And Fred had no health problems, as stated by his wife. So what happened to him? Where did he go? And the crazy thing about this case is that it happens in an area where there are massive amounts of people. In fact, in the past, I covered a case on Tom Messick. And Tom went missing very much near this area. He went out hunting. Now, on the other hand, Tom was 82 years old. But he was never found. I mean, where are these elderly gentlemen disappearing to? It's a very, very interesting question. Now, with 200 people, guys, 200 people on the ground looking for this man, helicopters, dog teams, professionals at what they do, search and rescue members who are trained individuals in finding lost individuals, ran out of places to look for this guy. Fred was just nowhere to be found. I mean, there's zero trace of him. There's no tracks. There's no scent. It's really like he just up and disappeared. And with no sign of forcible removal and no sign that Fred left under duress in any way, shape, or form, the fact that he just up and vanished like this really is mind-blowing. And I struggle with it because it doesn't make any sense that this guy would just up and go away. But for a 68-year-old man who's been married for 50 years with no health problems, who's serving on a city council, who's a retired, hardworking guy his entire life, to all of a sudden just decide to walk off into the wilderness and die is not within my realm of understanding. Maybe that is what happened. But if that's what happened, how far did he walk, for Pete's sake? Because you got to understand, they searched 1,200 acres for this man. 1,200 acres. 200 people, dogs, and there's no trace of him. Anyway, 6 years has passed, guys. It's 2021, as you well know, and Fred disappeared in 2015, and no sign of him has ever been found. So it is beyond me what could have happened, but I'd love to hear what you think happened to Fred. All things considered, guys, if you have a rational explanation of what could have possibly happened to this guy, I would love to hear it. And by all means, my heart goes out to the family to never have closure, to never have answers. At least in like the Jacob Gray case, they eventually found his remains. In a lot of cases that I've covered, the people are just never found again. And that must be maddening to the families. I couldn't imagine. But anyway, that's all I got for you today, guys. I know this is kind of a short video from what I normally do, but there's really not a lot of evidence to this case. It's very sparse when it comes to what happened to him. The whole story is very thin. Guys, leave me something in the comment section below. I always love hearing your opinions on these cases, what you think happened. All opinions are welcome, and they're all valid as far as I'm concerned. With mysteries like this, putting our heads together and trying to figure out what could have possibly happened, who knows? Maybe one of you guys actually has the right answer. So leave me something in the comment section below. Also, if you're new to the channel, I hope you subscribe. Turn that button right there blue if you enjoyed the video. And by all means, share it. Twitter, Instagram, wherever you feel the need to, because it helps me out and it's much appreciated. And if you're new to the channel, I hope you'll subscribe, keep coming back, but regardless of whether you're new or old to the channel, hit that bell, get the notification. Guys, I cannot thank you enough for all the support that I'm getting on this channel. We're growing and I couldn't do it without you. But that is it for Patrick. I am out of here and I will see you guys in the next video.